Hello, everybody. I'm coming to you live in preparation for Shabbat, which begins this evening, to talk about being happy in hard times. It has been hard times indeed lately. I'm in Canada and specifically Ontario, where we have a new premier coming in. Some of us are concerned about some of the policies that will create, such as climate change, etc. We're also hearing stories, of course, from the US with the migrant crisis, the targeting of journalists and violence, lots of horrible things happening, and it can feel very demoralizing. And I know a number of you are like me, and sometimes it just feels like too much, and there's nothing we can do about all of these problems, and we may be tempted to disengage a little bit. And I think the disengagement is dangerous. That's one of the things I'll talk about. The other thing I want to talk about is what I experience sometimes, and probably you do too, which is that you experience a moment of joy or happiness or laughter, and you feel guilty for it. You think, wow, how could I be happy when so many terrible things are going on in the world? And then that also, I think, is a problem. So this is, if you want to think of this as happiness in hard times and why it matters. I want you to be happy for you. I think that living a good life has meaning in and of itself, and I care about my community. I want people to feel happy, but I also want you to be happy because I think we are more effective when we're happy. There's a bit of a tired metaphor you already know about the airplane that, you have to put on your oxygen mask before assisting someone else. I also think a useful metaphor is to save someone from drowning, you have to protect yourself, because there's a tendency for a person who's drowning to actually pull somebody down with them. And that is what I think is happening right now, that we're all feeling so pulled down by the weight of everything that's going on that we lose our ability to be effective. So I want us to be effective, and being happy is part of that. So I want you to think about what makes you happy. Many of us have a long weekend coming up. What can you do this weekend that will make you happy? And maybe part of that is helping. There are marches happening about the child separation issue. I'm going to one that's in Toronto tomorrow. I'd love to see you if you're in Toronto, but if you're not in Toronto, there's likely actions happening where you live, and sometimes doing something about the injustice in the world itself can make us happy, or being helpful in other ways. There's a two-way street, I think, with happiness and helping. When we help others, we feel happier, and the happier we are, the better able we are to help others. So sometimes if we're experiencing that guilt over feeling happy, understanding it in the context of this is how I become better in the world and more politically effective, if that's your thing, that can be a way to lessen the guilt and increase the joy, which I think is a good thing to do. There's no question that in these hard times we can't change everything, but we can change sometimes more than we think. We can be politically effective, and I do believe there's value in also making the people around us happier. If you're a parent, our children still deserve to have happy, joyful times, even in these complicated times that we're living in. And if you're not a parent or you don't have young kids, it's still worthwhile to think about how you can increase the joy and happiness of the people around you, because we're needing that right now. I think there's also usefulness in thinking about how we can model what it is to have a good life. The people creating suffering and hurt are deeply unhappy themselves. And if we can, be models of what it means to have a peaceable and happy life, I think that is also increasing the good in the world. So for all those reasons, I want you to focus on your happiness in this weekend, and maybe even starting tonight. Tonight Shabbat begins. It's the Jewish Sabbath, goes Friday night until Saturday night. What a lovely opportunity to think about what makes you happy, what will make you feel restful and recharged. For some of us, that's doing Shabbat blessings. In my community, we do secular or humanistic blessings on the Shabbat candles, wine, and challah. Maybe you do traditional blessings. Maybe you do something that's not traditional to mark Shabbat, but creating a little space for rest and rejuvenation, even if it's only a few minutes, I think is a useful thing to do. So I'd love to know what you're doing for Shabbat. If anything, feel free to post comments, photos, whatever it is you'd like. If you do attend a march, I wish you a good march, and I hope that it is meaningful for you. Feel free to be in touch with me about that also. Wishing everybody a beautiful long weekend and a Shabbat Shalom.